This is an interesting development. Tony Bellew, as you can see here, says he believes he can knock out Usyk. He says it will be his last fight if he knocks out Usyk, but you know, we'll believe that when we see it. Can you imagine if Tony Bellew knocked out Usyk for all the belts at Cruiserweight to become undisputed? Do you really think he would retire? I mean, he might, but all that success would only breed more success. Undisputed Cruiserweight champion who's already got a couple wins at heavyweight. Just imagine the money that would be on the table for him to fight one of the heavyweight champions. He might even reconsider his position on fighting Joshua. You know, he'd certainly want to try and push for the Wilder fight again, because Wilder's already talked about fighting at Cruiserweight. Imagine how tempted Wilder would be to take on Tony Bellew if Bellew managed to beat Usyk. So, you never know. Anyway, that's an aside. He believes he can knock out Usyk, but here's the interesting thing. He's actually willing to drop back down to Cruiserweight. Now, this isn't a big shock to me, but it is interesting because of the fact that Usyk said that he would be willing to move up to heavyweight to fight Bellew. Now, Bellew says that the reason Usyk said that is because Usyk is actually struggling at the weight. Well, if he is struggling at the weight, he can't be struggling that bad because he had a tremendous work rate in the Murat Garcia fight. You know, and when you're struggling at the weight, typically you can't keep up a great work rate. But Usyk had a great work rate, and in fact his work rate seemed higher in the late rounds than it was early on in the fight. So yeah, he's going to be a very, very tough man for anyone to beat. And full praise to Tony Bellew if he actually managed to beat a man to do it and beat the guy. So yeah, Bellew is willing to go down to Cruiserweight, and obviously, as I've said in previous videos about this potential matchup, it makes sense to me because that's the incentive, right, for Tony Bellew to win all the belts. I was a little skeptical about whether he would want the fight, or I was a little intrigued about why he would want the fight at heavyweight, Tony Bellew. Like, what would be in it for him? The only reason I could see him taking the fight at heavyweight is if he really can't make Cruiserweight again, you know. But if he can make Cruiserweight again without killing himself, which I'm pretty sure he can, then it makes far more sense for him to take the fight at Cruiserweight with all the belts on the line. For Usyk, yeah, you can see why he wants to fight at heavyweight, because it's, as I've mentioned before, it's a segue into the heavyweight division. It's a nice way to dip his toe into the heavyweight waters by fighting a guy who is coming off back-to-back wins against David Haye, a former heavyweight and cruiserweight champion. But it's Tony Bellew, a man who's a former cruiserweight himself, so it'll be stepping up to heavyweight, but not really for Usyk if he was to fight Bellew at heavyweight. So yeah, hopefully that made sense and it wasn't too convoluted. But yeah, interesting. We'll see what happens here, people, but we could end up getting Alexander Usyk fighting Tony Bellew, the champion emeritus, because that's what Tony Bellew is. He's champion emeritus with the WBC. So he theoretically can get a shot at Usyk whether Usyk likes it or not, unless Usyk vacates. Bellew can force a shot if he's still champion emeritus, because that's what champion emeritus is. You basically get to, you know, come out of retirement whenever you like, or come out of your layoff whenever you like, layoff from competing for the WBC title in that particular division. You get a certain time window, I think it might be 2 years or something, year and a half, 2 years, where you get made champion emeritus, and during that time you can come and challenge for the WBC title anytime you want. So if Bellew still has that status, then he can force the Usyk fight. It's not even a thing where, or he can force a fight for the WBC belt anyway. Don't mean Usyk has to keep the belt. So let me know what you guys think of this, and how many of you would actually pick Tony Bellew to win. There has to be some of you. There has to be some of you, because Bellew is the Cinderella man, and he has proved so many people wrong so many times, including myself. He's an overachiever, and maybe he's actually better than a lot of us realize. You see, with Tony Bellew, you often think, no, this is a step too far. And then he goes and proves you wrong. Is it going to be the same case here with Alexander Usyk? Because I think this is a step too far. Don't get it twisted. I understand why Tony Bellew's taking the fight, and I applaud him for taking the fight, and he should take the fight. But in terms of whether I think he's going to win, I think it's a step too far. I don't think he will win the fight. But maybe I'm wrong. What we think is irrelevant. We just do this for fun. We chop it up and we give our predictions and whatnot. But it's all just speculation at the end of the day. The only thing that matters is what takes place in the ring. Will Tony Bellew prove us all wrong once again by beating Alexander Usyk if they fight? I seriously doubt it, but that's what makes it intriguing, right? To see if he can do it. So let me know how you guys feel about this in the comment section below. And who do you think it benefits fighting at Cruiserweight more? Does it benefit Bellew more? Or does it benefit Usyk more? Or doesn't it even matter? Would the fight go the exact same way regardless of whether it's a heavyweight or cruiser? Let me know what you think in the comments. It's Hatman, I'm out.